Touched by the Light Publishing. A better life awaits you when you read. He who reads sees, and he that does not move does not notice the chains. Mission. The Touched by the Light Foundation envisions an America where there is 100% literacy. We have this vision because literacy impacts lives. Literacy is critical to personal freedom. Literacy is the power that empowers lives and improves communities. Literacy brought man's mind out of the darkness into the light. Do you have a child or a relative that is not doing well in school? Do you have a relative in prison? Then I would like to speak to you. There is a solution. How many times do you read in a week? How many books have you read this year? Do you know that the solution to your problems is written in a certain book somewhere? Reading books is not only for entertainment or educative purposes, but it is also a good way to gather social wisdom on tackling life issues. Scholars say that gold hidden in books may take longer to be discovered than gold is hidden deep on the Earth's surface. The phrase explains the reluctance of many people to read books. However, it is important to know that the richest and most successful people in the world today are readers who not only spend hours reading every week, but also encourage people to read. There is a lot of treasure hidden in books, and only a handful of people have managed to read and tap this treasure. This explains the few successful people in society. Reading is essential. Reading is important. Reading is a fundamental function in life. I truly believe the more one reads, the greater the life a person can potentially have. This is why I'm going to discuss reading. I do not think I can talk enough about reading. Reading is one of the most important activities that a person can participate. A world of information is available to you when you read. This information can help you shape and change your life. Reading can instruct you on how to conduct a conversation at an embassy, how to talk to people that you do not know, how to talk to people about everyday subjects that they would enjoy. Reading can help you learn how to fish. Reading can help you learn how to solve math problems. Reading can help you learn a new profession. Reading can help you learn how to eat better, how to meet people, how to select a hobby. The field is endless. What I want to do today is to help you to develop a conviction for reading. Let's explore the word conviction. The word conviction is a noun. The word conviction has two meanings. One is a formal declaration that someone is guilty of a criminal offense made by the verdict of a jury or the decision of a judge in a court of law. For example, one can say in a sentence, she had a previous conviction for a similar offense. So, in this situation, we know we're talking about someone that is a felon. The second meaning for the word conviction is a firmly held belief or an opinion. This is the meaning that we are going to consider today. Think about a firmly held belief or an opinion. Religion is a firmly held conviction. What we want to do today is to develop a firmly held conviction that reading can change our lives. Therefore, we should read every day. I'm going to try to prove to you today that if you begin a lifetime of reading, these efforts will change your life forever, and that your efforts in reading will impact your family more than you can imagine. Because when your children see you read, they will learn the value of reading from your behavior. Studies have shown that the third grade is the tipping point for future success as a learner and a member of society. Up to the third grade, we learn to read. After the third grade, we read to learn. If this critical skill is not mastered by age 8, children not only fall behind in school, but they also fall behind in life, and the proof of that is in our prison system. Our prisons are filled with people who do not know how to read. The men in prisons are fathers, sons, and brothers needed in our homes. The women that are in prison are the mothers and daughters and sisters that are needed in our homes. Reading will restore men and women. Reading will restore families, and reading will heal the wounds caused by the inability to read. Reading is not a simple behavior. Reading is intricate in formulating how you want to live your life. When you cannot read, you will not pay your bills correctly. You will not buy the right car. You will not know how to purchase a home. You will not know how to complete your income tax. You will waste money in bars. You will purchase cheap items to bolster your self-esteem. You will live in a poor neighborhood. You will not have a savings account or checking account because you don't know how to manage banking and checking accounts. You will pay more money for goods and services. You will be at the mercy of their fellow men. Your children may or may not go to college. Many of the girls will become pregnant and never graduate from high school. You will suffer with many illnesses brought on because of the poor diet or poor eating habits and traditions. You will become more and more adamant and shun change, all because you do not have the knowledge you need from reading. We are dedicated to improving the lives of the people we serve. We want to change the way people think, and books can help do that. The reason why so many men and women end up in prisons because they are ill-prepared to assume the responsibility of adulthood, and they cannot read. They are illiterate. Because of their illiteracy, they cannot find jobs or express themselves without violence. Once rejected from the job market, they turn to crime to make a living, and they turn to drugs to bolster their self-esteem. Imagine you are a student in school, and you have been assigned to give a speech before your class. You've never seen a speech before, so what do? Do you sit and fret about giving the speech, or do you seek information that will tell you how to give that speech? If you are smart, you will go to the library and ask a librarian if she can give you some good books on how to give a speech. Whether you are a student in school, or an adult at work, or in your community, there are times in our lives when we are asked or told to give a speech. There is no way out of it, no matter how you feel about it. You have the assignment, and you must do it. This probably wouldn't be a problem, except for the fact that public speaking is the #1 terror of most people. However you feel about doing this task, reading a book on how to give a speech can be life-changing. Reading a book about giving a speech that can make your task easier and your life easier, more comfortable, and less stressful. If you follow the experience of the author, you seek the advice of a librarian. You'll learn that reading can help you out of your problem. That reading can give you the solution to some of the problems that you are experiencing. Here is another example of the consequences of reading. Imagine it is around 1938 or 1939 in Germany. A book was written that changed the lives of 80 million people. Let me say this again. There was a book written in Germany that ended up changing the lives of 80 million people. A man in Germany wrote a book in 1937. The book he wrote changed the lives of millions of people around the world, every ethnic group. The man's name was General Hans Wilhelm. He was a military theorist. The title of the book that he wrote was, I would say, that is translated as the word attention. Now, the book was not a bestseller, but it caught the attention of one man in Germany. That man was Hitler. Hitler was just coming to power in Germany, and he had made up his mind that he wanted to invade Poland and Czechoslovakia, and he was trying to figure out how he would do it successfully. And this book gave him the idea of how to conquer these two countries. What a book for Hitler to read. Hitler learned to use the airplane for artillery. The book also gave Hitler the idea of how to use tanks, how to keep tanks that were in constant communication with one another via radio. This had never been done in warfare. Although France had the superior tank, the tanks were not managing the way that Hitler decided to manage them. Hitler developed the Panzer unit as a superior fighting force, as he did this by studying the attack techniques described in the book. The information written in the book by General Wilhelm changed military history forever. If Hitler had not read this book, the course of human history would have been much, much different. Think of all the changes in the world that would have taken place because some man or woman read a particular book that spurred them on to invent a new way of doing something, or an invention like the wash machine, or the elevator, or the fire hydrant. So far, we have discussed how reading affects people in their daily lives, how reading affects people that commit crimes, and how reading affects people experiencing a social upheaval. Now, we need to decide how reading is going to affect you. Reading is defined as the accumulation of knowledge. Reading is one of the processes by which adult humans are gathering information for conducting their lives, which includes working and regulating when this is inhabited from whenever. The person cannot conduct his life successfully. The persons that results have flurried. When a person cannot read or doesn't know what to do, she will live the life of a liar or will end up in prison or the grave. They will never receive what God had in store for them. Reading is the most important human activity any man can participate. When you ignore reading, you cut yourself off from other people around you. Our prisons are filled with computers, do not know how to read. Our graveyards are filled with people who do not know how to read. You are not successful today because you cannot read or refuse to read. You continue to think you can conduct your life upon the information you learned in high school, Your life is because you cannot read or do not read, and many of your children are in prison today because you did not read to them or teach them to read. Many of your children are dead because you did not read to them or teach them to read or teach them the importance of reading. Reading will tell you about another man's courage. Reading will tell you how to correct some of the mistakes in your life. Reading will help you solve some of our problems. Reading will tell you how to find a job. Or reading can help you learn a profession. Reading will help you improve your health. You turn to gambling, thinking that if you win enough money in the casino, that will help you. When you do not, you go to the casino and wager your life savings, trying to win big at casino. When you do not read, you will go around the community looking for free food, free clothes, anything free will help you. When you do not read, you bring men into your home that do not belong there, telling your children to call them daddy about. When you do not read or cannot read, you are walking around with no understanding of life. Let me say this again. When you do not read or cannot read, you are walking around without an understanding of life, and you will meet with poor results. Hear me well. You are failing in life because you cannot read, or you refuse to read, or you refuse to learn to read competently. When you shun knowledge, you remain in the darkness. You will never reach the light, and you will never see God. Your salvation depends on your ability to read. A person goes to a textbook to learn how to build a house, or how to repair a car, or how to learn how to purchase a computer or buy tires. If the person cannot read or cannot read competently, he or she cannot successfully reach their goal. They will not learn how to purchase a computer or purchase the correct tires. They can ask other people how to do these things, but they are at the mercy of their friends to tell them the truth. We read the Bible to find out what God has to say and to learn how we are supposed to conduct our lives. If we cannot read, or if we cannot read competently, how are we to get the information we need from the Bible to manage our lives properly? If you cannot read or read competently, the Bible is of no value to you. Listening to a sermon is not good enough. Going to Bible study and coming to church on Sunday, listening to a sermon is not enough for you to get the type of information you need to accomplish the task of learning what God wants you to do. If you take notes during Bible study and you take notes during a sermon, you will be further ahead, but you are still dependent on another person interpreting Bible for you. You are depending on the integrity of the pastor to give you the right information to solve this problem, so that you will not be misled. You must learn to read, and you must learn to read competently. Relying upon someone else to give you the correct information to conduct your life is extremely dangerous. You will meet with disastrous results if you continue in this path. You rely upon your girlfriend for information, so she suggests to you to go to the bar to meet a man. In a few months, you learn. You have AIDS, all because you let your girlfriend tell you how to live one of life's problems, loneliness. Therefore, you must pray and ask the Lord for guidance when you select a friend. Your mind must be flexible. You must be in the habit of taking in information, processing this information, and evaluating this information. How often do you stick your son in front of the television instead of giving him a book to read? How many times have you used the television as a babysitter so you could get your groove on? How often do you read to your son? How many books have you seen your son read? How many books are in your home? Did you repeatedly tell your son, through example and through words, that learning to read was his way out of poverty? That using a gun was not his way out of poverty? And did you tell him he did not have to learn how to play baseball or basketball or football to get out of poverty? Learning to read will get you out of poverty. Reading is an activity like none other. The consequences of learning are extraordinary, just as the consequences of not reading are extraordinary. Where you will live your life in darkness, you can sit before an orchestra, where the music will thrill you to passion, and for a while you will soar. You can turn the radio on in your car, and the music will carry you away. But there is nothing like reading. Reading will only transport you to another place and time. Reading will change the circumstances of your life forever. Reading will carry you to the future, where you will see possibilities, and reading will send you to the visit of the past, where you will see potential. Music provides a temporary high for your relief from your surroundings, whereas reading can lead you to a permanent relief from everything around you. Reading and change your reality, transforming you into a new person. You can read one paragraph and say, why not? Or, of course, you can read one book and say, I never thought of that, and read a second book and say, if only I had known this before. You can see one word on the page and say to yourself, that can be me. I have possibilities in my life. The two men below became President of the United States, the most powerful office in the world, because they saw possibilities in their lives. They reached this goal because they were voracious readers. How many times do you think their wives fell asleep while these men read beside them? Ask anyone familiar with these men. Reading opened their minds and filled their mouths with words people could understand. They gained support of people with words they learned from reading. They are still celebrated after one was assassinated and the other left office. Once you begin reading in earnest, you will realize that you can learn equally from reading about how a man failed in his life, just as you can learn about how a man succeeded in his life. In fact, learning how a person fails is a good roadmap for success, because failure always provides you with an alternative point of view. Think of the man who decided to construct the street light, or to design the fire hydrant, or design the light bulb. Where did these ideas come from? What was the source of their inspiration? One source of these inventions was reading. Reading allows for the accumulation of information. When this information is assimilated in the human brain, an idea is born. One invention sparks another invention that sparks another great idea, until finally, man is raised to an enhanced state of existence. Reading provides the recipe for originality. A man says to himself, there must be a better way. He goes to the library trying to find that better way. He reads and reads and reads, assimilating information, looking for that better way. If he does not find that better way in the books he has read, he has still learned something. He has learned that he must invent the better way. This time he begins to read books, looking for ideas to help him as he invents. Reading is one of the most important activities that a person can participate in. A world of information is available to you. This information can help you shape and change not only your life, but the lives of your children and spouse. Visit the website https://touchedbythelight.us and find yourself a book to read. For more information, you can email us at yithril11@netzero.net. If you enjoyed this presentation, please invite our representative to speak to you regarding our fundraising opportunities that will transform your church or nonprofit organization.